First thing, uh, the Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom hands-on preview, courtesy of IGN. Uh, this, I think, I'm gonna just paraphrase out most of what I read in this. You can customize a lot.
Yep.
There's a lot of customization in this game to like attaching things, the combinations that you can utilize while attaching things together, like putting rockets on things, or just using the rocket in general. Just using a rocket to fly up, but attaching components together to make like a small plane that you can use like a I'm just gonna call it like a joystick for to be able to actually maneuver it. I think it's an interesting idea to be able to have like the ability to completely customize your experience, which also means that it's another one of those cases where I think this is like one of the best things about any game is everybody's going to go about certain objectives in completely different ways. That's like the best part of the experience, to be able to like me go to you and be like, hey, did you do like make like a flying ship and do, you know, get to this objective this way, whereas you probably did something completely different. Like that is what I read from this. I'm paraphrasing a ton of it. There was a lot of stuff in there, but the idea of attaching and what was it called, like the hand thing, but just the idea of attaching things and components together, not as a means to solve puzzles, but as a means to maneuver around the map and deal with combat. Like you have arrows, right? You have arrows, and there are certain plants that are like bomb flowers. You attach the bomb flower to the end of the arrow, and now it's just an explosive arrow. Like that's the kind of stuff that that's the kind of stuff that I'm looking forward to, actually. More than anything. I know this game is going to have big exploration and all that, but more than anything, being able to combine components together to like be able to plan out your strategy towards objectives or bosses or whatever. So I'm excited. That's what I took out of this. I'm very excited. It was really cool to just see all the various things that they were doing, and they attempted in this video that actually is pulled up here. I was watching as a last stop before I turn over to you. They had a hot air balloon, but they couldn't get it to go up, you know, to the sky, because, you know, hot air balloons typically you need like some kind of source to make it go and rise. So he tried to attach like a fan under it. Unfortunately, the fan attached to the side of it. So now he just had a hot air balloon that still couldn't fly, with like a fan that he could go on to like go off the ground a little bit. It was like, okay, like, yeah, the attachment sounds really cool, but you can also just kind of screw it up. So there's a lot of like trial and error as well. So I think like it'll be funny to see the trial and error side of it too. So that was my takeaway from this. I'm excited. Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you covered most of it. I mean, I think the big thing with this game, as was true in the first game, is that it's kind of a play your way type thing, and this like fusion and building stuff mechanic that they added for Tears of the Kingdom looks to, as Ghost said in chat, double down on this idea of like, yep, there's some sort of like thing you have to get to, or a puzzle you have to solve, or some challenge you have to overcome, and there's like a bunch of different ways to solve it, and it's just going to be up to the player to figure out like the way that they want to overcome the problem or challenge that is presented, basically. And the game just gives you a bunch of stuff that you can use and combine and do whatever with in order to overcome the challenge, and is up to the player. I'm sure all of them may have like an intended solution or a couple of solutions that the devs thought of themselves, but I'm sure there are many other solutions that the players will come up by themselves. And again, it's a thing where you can talk to your friend. It's like, oh, did you do this thing in the game? Did you do this, like, puzzle or this challenge? Yeah, I did it this way, and I talked to you, and you did it in a completely different way than I did it, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's a really big component to me. As I choke.
as you joke.
That's a really big component. So I feel like this doesn't. We'll see how they do shrines. I mean, the idea of shrines, of puzzles, given you can just combine anything. I'm sure
Yeah,
there'll be
I mean,
some limitation.
inside a shrine, I feel like the tools that they are going to give you are limited because you're not in the open world. You are like within the confines of the
Yes.
shrine, and the objects and stuff that are in the shrine are going to be limited,
Right.
obviously.
Yeah,
Um,
that would make sense.
yeah, and as far as weapon durability, it still exists. It's still probably going to work similarly, but with the fusion mechanic, there were some things I saw some articles talking about, like, yeah, the weapon durability is kind of not taken care of, but it's not as bad because you can be using a weapon, and when it's about to break, you can just find something in the world and just like fuse it with the weapon, and that'll increase. Basically, it changes the weapon, but it also increases the durability of the weapon because you fuse something
Yeah, you
else
fuse
to it.
something else with it.
So
Yeah, you changed it. So okay,
yeah,
that's
so
a
that's
way to.
something. And I saw other things covering. There's like forget what they call it, like a cooking guide type thing. So there's like a recipe book somewhere in the game, so that'll help out with cooking, which will
Yeah,
be nice.
thank God. Thank God.
Cooking was a feature that was really cool in the first game, but I just felt like they didn't explain it well enough. They just needed to. And I know parts of the first game were about just exploring and figure things out for yourself, but there are certain mechanics where I'm like, can you just give me a tutorial? Like, just tell me how this
Just give me
works,
a short
please.
explanation. That's it. That's all I need. I don't need you to deep dive it. But
Yeah.
a little explanation of like, here's some things you can, and like just like, yeah, just a little bit is okay. Just a little.
Um. So yeah, again, it seems like Tears of the Kingdom is gonna be it's very similar to Breath of the Wild, but just with more customization, more bells and whistles. So
Yeah.
if you liked Breath of the Wild, which I'm not gonna say I didn't like Breath of the Wild, but I didn't love it personally, and we've talked about that before, so we won't go into it. Um, yeah,
You'll probably enjoy this.
you'll
Probably
probably
enjoy.
enjoy this, but I'm still willing to, you know, I will still probably play this, even though I wasn't the biggest fan of Breath of the Wild personally,
Hmm.
because it's still the new Zelda game, and they only come out once every five,
At
six
this
years,
point,
or
5 6 years. Yeah.
yeah. That's a lot of times that is the how long it takes for the mainline Zelda
Yeah,
games.
and for
Um,
many of the Nintendo ones, like Mario Odyssey came out a long time ago.
it came out the same year as Breath of the Wild. It was in the fall. Breath of the Wild came out
Right.
in the spring, but we have not a peep about the next Mario game. They haven't even
Mm-hmm.
shown a teaser
They
trailer, an announcement, nothing.
they take their sweet time cooking those things, which is good. It's good and bad. It's like great in the idea that they definitely can come up with unique experiences. Bad
Yeah,
in the sense of like, does it really need to take like 6 years though?
no.
In some of these, like that's the other part. But anyway,
I think they could have pretty easily done like an Odyssey 2 in like 2 or 3 years.
hmm
Just make basically the same mechanics as Odyssey, maybe add a few more things and just different levels, and
yeah,
just call it a day. And people would have loved that, but obviously they didn't do that.
no,
So,
they don't.
um,
Nintendo don't do that. They're very particular. But yeah, I don't have anything else to say on Tears of the Kingdom.
no, yeah, all the previews pretty much said similar things to what this IGN one, and just talked about the building and how
Yeah,
customizable it is. So I think that's the big takeaway with Tears of the Kingdom. They're really going in on this building system.
yeah,
So
very cool. All right, next thing I got is Jedi Survivor reviews. Uh, high reviews, critically acclaimed here. 86 is the top critic average. I can't say I'm surprised at all.
me neither.
So
I mean, the first one reviewed quite well as well,
yeah,
from what I remember.
the first one reviewed quite well. Actually, the game came out yesterday. Um, so again, I'm not surprised at the reviews of this. Good to see that they're keeping the momentum going on their single player games. That EA uh, is finally like, wait, single player games actually make some money. Huh, that's weird. That's weird.
That's weird.
They
People
make a
actually
little
like
bit.
this.
Isn't this game unplayable on PC though? I heard something that I did see one review on YouTube on this, and they said that there were technical problems with PC, and it felt like the PC version of this had some problems. So
Yeah, I don't think it's everyone. I think it's certain systems, but which is usually a problem with PC. But that's still pretty unacceptable. That like
yep,
a pretty good chunk of systems, this thing does not run very well on PC.
yes, agreed.
Like nearly not even not run well, like nearly unplayable. Like
Right.
you get like 2 frames. It's terrible.
Yep. I mean, wasn't this game 120 what was it, gigabytes of space? Didn't this game
Yeah,
take up
something
like 100?
yeah, it was something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I think I know why it's not working well on PC. It's probably poorly optimized in
Yeah,
general.
probably.
But anyway, I mean, the game reviewed well. Obviously, not every system is having the same problems. PC being the outlier here. We'll see if they fix the PC port in a timely manner.
Yeah, I saw a tweet this morning that they you know, they released a statement that said, basically we're aware of the problems and this is not acceptable
Whoops.
and we're sorry. Whoops.
We're
Whoops.
we're aware of the problems. We shipped it because we had to, but rest assured, we'll fix it. Don't you worry.
We're working on it. We're working on it. We know we know it's screwed, but we're working on it.
We're
So
working on
they know people are pissed off, and they know people want to play the game. So they'll probably get a patch out in hopefully no more than a couple of weeks and fix this crap.
They got. They're like, in the meantime, try FIFA. Try FIFA. You should try FIFA or a FIFA game. That's fun too.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else to say on this one, to be honest.
No, I don't really either. I didn't play the first one. Ghost actually, my brother played the first one relatively recently, within the last few months? I don't remember if it was in the last few months or if it was last fall, but it's like within the last 6 months, I'll say. He played the first one.
Yep.
And honestly, he said it was like kind of meh. Like the combat was good, but there was just a lot of things about it that he didn't really like.
Okay.
But the critics love these Western, third-person action or action RPG games, with good combat. Yeah,
he
says there's
climbing?
He said there's a lot of climbing, and the climbing isn't like interesting puzzle climbing. It's just like press hold up and you climb.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with a Western action game. To be clear, by the way, it's just not everybody's cup of tea. Let's just say that. Not everybody wants to climb for 20 seconds at a time, or whatever it is. It's probably not 20.
I don't know what the obsession with climbing is. Like, climbing is interesting when, again, there's like a puzzle-ish mechanic to it where it's kind of like, okay, I need to figure out where I need to climb or where I need to jump. But when the whole wall glows yellow or whatever and you just press up to climb up the wall, that's not that's not interesting gameplay. I'm sorry.
No. But it shows that the world isn't just flat. This isn't a flat Earth, Spoon. This isn't flat Earth theory here. It shows some levels. That being said, we don't need 20-second ladder climbs or whatever. Like, ladder climbing isn't interesting, but it shows a little bit of levels, elevation, I think is a better way to put it.
Since the Assassin's Creed came out, it feels like every third-person action game has to have climbing in it.
To be fair, climbing was a part of the puzzle.
Yeah, in Assassin's Creed, in the early Assassin's Creed games, it was good. Like, you had to figure out how to climb the buildings to, get to the top, to the viewpoints. And again, that was like the puzzle element. There was it wasn't always just hold up to climb the building. It was like, oh, I need to jump over here, or I need to go around, and then I can climb up, stuff like that. But again, if the climbing is just hold up, or hold left, or hold right to climb the wall, that's not interesting.
Which, by the way, that's Assassin's Creed now. When you try and go to elevation points, you just press up. I will. So, sorry, Kate was heading out the door.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, but that's what Assassin's Creed. It's funny because Assassin's Creed did have climbing puzzles. You know, now you just press up. You just press up. You're like, okay, well, this kind of like, okay. Look, people like climbing. People like rock climbing. Okay, people like rock climbing. We gotta climb.
And like, okay, I'm gonna say I don't mind if they do it a little bit, but at least from Ghost description, there was a lot of climbing in the first game. Like
Okay.
every level, you're at this point, and then you get knocked off a cliff, and you have to climb up the entire cliff, and it takes like 20 minutes.
Okay.
So again, I haven't played it, so I can't speak for that, but you know, that's what he said.
You know, Zelda has a lot of climbing.
Yeah, but the climbing in Zelda, well, first you can climb literally anything in Zelda. It's not like just the glowing wall that you can climb.
Climb the
And
glow wall.
second, there is the puzzle element to it in that like you have to manage your stamina. You have to either find places to stop or you find walls that you just can't climb because you don't have enough stamina to get up.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
True. Okay. But yeah, like I said, I didn't play the first game. Don't really
yeah, I
have
didn't
anything
either.
here.
Yeah, no, I don't either. I just threw it in there to mention it. I'm sure it's I'm it's I'm sure it's a fun game. I'm sure the combat at the very least is quite fun.
Yeah.
And maybe the story's good too. I don't know, but
Right, I'm adding one thing by the way. Because I saw it in the doc, but we didn't have like a doc thing for it. Let's just pull up Hoyo versus website for this next for that one in the future. Okay, next, Age of Wonders 4 has an open critic here with a score of 84. 100% critics recommend. Wow, that's interesting.
only
100%.
only 16 reviews though. It is like it's kind of a more niche 4X game, so I'm not surprised that the
Yeah,
number of reviews isn't that high.
but still good stuff. This game comes out May 2nd. To be clear, this is not out yet.
Tuesday.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been talking about this game for several podcasts, so I feel like bringing it up made sense to show the open critic. 84 is a great score. I'm excited. I don't have anything else to say. I'm excited to jump in next week.
Yeah, I'm also excited. We've been talking about it a lot. It also seems like, if you're interested in the game, the number it seems like a lot of content creators have early access. If you just look around on like Twitch or YouTube today, there are a lot of content creators that are either streaming it or like putting up let's plays. It seems like the embargo for like all content for Age of Wonders was today. Basically, there were some streams on Thursday, but I think there was still some. But it seems like the embargo for content creators is completely up, and today is the day that you can just go buck wild and show whatever the content creators who have early access can show whatever they want. So if you're interested in the game, you can check it out. There's plenty of content creators that seem to have early access to the game, and you can check it out. As the reviews, generally the sentiment on the game is very strong. People seem to love the customization aspect, which we've talked about at length before.
Yep.
With both the realms and the factions. People like the Pantheon system, which we haven't seen much of yet, but they have explained it, where when you win a game, your leader, you can ascend your leader to the Pantheon, and then they can show up either as an ally or an enemy in a future game if you want them to. So people like that.
Yeah.
And that has a meta progression system along with it. Like you have a account level basically that you gain EXP and you can unlock cosmetics and stuff with that. And yeah, the only real complaints that I saw were there are some performance issues in some places, especially on Xbox. Actually, there were a couple of Xbox reviews that gave it like 7 or they didn't give it bad review. They gave it like 7 or 7.5, so that's not bad by any means. But they said the performance could be a bit rough. Apparently, Triumph knows about these and said that they're gonna have a day one patch that should hopefully address it for the most part.
Yeah.
But there were performance issues mostly on Xbox, but I heard about some on PC as well.
Okay.
So again, probably depends on your system.
Yep.
But especially in the late game, like in like big battles, and then in the late game as well when it just gets really busy.
Yeah,
then,
of course it's gonna take a toll on your CPU.
Yeah. So that's a possible concern, but again, it didn't seem like anyone had a big enough issue with it to really rate the game very low, even with
Yeah,
that. So, um, yeah, I'm very excited. This game has looks awesome, and I'm excited to jump into it on Tuesday, May 2nd. Um, yeah,
yeah.
I think that's about it. And apparently the game comes out at the standard Steam time on Tuesday, which I think it's either 9 or 10 a.m. Pacific
Oh,
time.
okay,
Is when the game comes out on Tuesday.
okay.
So it's not a midnight. You're not gonna be able to play it on like a Monday midnight release or anything. But
Morning release. Got it.
Tuesday morning for the U.S. Unfortunately, evening for the EU.
Yeah.
Um, for EU people. And again, this is developed by an EU studio. I don't
Can't
know
can't
if
help
this
it.
game is more popular in the EU or in the I have no idea, um, but this game seems to be getting a decent amount of coverage and traction from, again, the reviews are good. A lot of content creators seem to be covering it. Um, and yeah, the game just seems well put together in general, so I'm hoping that it'll sell pretty well. I did check the Steam top sellers, and I think it was in the top 15 the other day when I
Okay.
looked. It was either yesterday, I think it was yesterday.
Yeah.
I think it was like 11 or 12 from what I remember.
Yeah.
So, you know, not gangbusters or anything, but I would think it's gonna do at least decently as
Yeah.
far as sales go. Um, Let me check right now. Okay, it actually cracked the top 10. It's ninth today
Oh,
on
nice.
Steam.
There you
Um,
go.
and the stuff ahead of it is just kind of
It's gonna the top 10 is gonna
the
naturally
top 10
be.
is Jedi Survivor, Counter Strike, Steam Deck,
Yep.
War Thunder. I don't even know what that is. Apex, Modern Warfare 2,
Yeah.
Destiny 2, and Cult of the Lamb. Those are the 8 games
Yeah,
that are ahead of it. So
you're not gonna crack. You're likely not gonna crack a lot of those.
you're not gonna crack top 5 for
Yeah.
sure.
Top five's pretty
Um,
set typically.
So it seems like it's actually selling pretty well as far as the pre-orders go right now,
Yep.
for the game. So that's good to see for me because again, it looks like they created a quality product here and deserve some success for this one. So
Yep.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. This was